Hi everyone! So today I have this really cute tutorial on this Belle figurine that I designed myself. I think this is a super cute figurine and I can't wait to show you guys how to make it. And one quick thing before we get started, I'm having my 10,000 subscribers contest. Don't forget to check that video out because well, it's not actually a contest, but I'm giving away prizes. Don't forget to go check that video out. Link is in the description box. Also, please make sure you know how to make the triple single bracelet before doing this design. And now, without further ado, let's move on to the materials needed. So today you will need any type of loom. You will also need your hook and bands in the colors of white, yellow, neon orange, caramel, and 2 black bands. All my supplies are from the Rainbow Loom web store, and sometimes I get comments down below asking where I got my stuff, but in every video I say that all my things are from the Rainbow Loom web store, so if I don't reply to comments like that, it's just because I've already said it in the video. And also, my neon orange is in a different packaging because I use a lot of neon orange because I do a lot of figurines and stuff. So yeah, it's still Rainbow Loom brand. But anyways, let's get started. Before we begin, I'd like to say a couple things. So this design is pretty advanced, or all figurines are pretty advanced, and you might want to watch the video first and make sure you can do this project just in case it's too hard for you if you are not a very experienced loomer. Also, you can use any type of loom for this design, so yes, if you have a Wonder Loom or anything like that, you can make this design as well. This project is pretty band consuming just because we use double bands for the most part, so that way everything looks full and not really spaced out and stuff. And also for all parts of this project, we will be starting with our loom's arrows pointing down. We will never have the arrow pointing up. I am filming in natural lighting today, and I'm not sure if I like it too much, but let me know down in the comments if you like natural lighting better. So without further ado, let's get started. First, we are going to start out with making the extensions for the side of Belle's dress, so that way her dress is poofy. And for the beginning, we are going to start with double bands. For this whole entire project, we are going to use double bands unless I say otherwise. So I'm taking 1 white and 1 yellow, and I'm just starting at the top of my loom. And we're going to make 3 links total with 1 white and 1 yellow band. Okay, like that. Now we are going to do double yellow bands for 4 more links. So we're going to go double yellow, 1, double yellow again, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, 4. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put some bands going horizontally. Now for this, we are going to be using double bands for the whole entire part. You're going to start at the bottom, I guess, of your loom. It doesn't really matter what order you put these in. And use double yellow bands and go diagonally from each pin. It doesn't really matter where you put these as long as they're connecting to the single chain because we won't be hooking these, so they'll come out looking all the same basically. So now we have finished putting all these bands on our loom, and we're going to go ahead and start the hooking process. So I have my hook here, and I'm going to go inside this first pin and basically hook the single chain going down here. You're not going to touch these horizontal bands at all, just act like they're not even there, and basically hook all of the bands that are going vertically on the far left side of your loom. So now I have finished hooking all these bands on my loom here, and I'm going to go ahead and remove everything except for the bands on this pin, since these are the bands that are our loose end. So now I am left with this single chain with loops, and now we're going to go ahead and create 1 more of these for the other side of Belle's dress. Once again, I'm starting with my loom's arrows pointing down, and we're basically going to do the same exact thing except on the far right side of our loom. So first we are going to start with 1 white and 1 yellow, and we're going to make 3 links of this. So 1 white and 1 yellow again, and then our last link with 1 white and 1 yellow. Now we are going to make 4 links of double yellow bands. Take 2 yellow and put them on the pins. My second, third, and fourth. So now I have finished putting this single chain on my loom, and we are now going to put the horizontal bands. We're going to put them on the left side since obviously there's no pins on the right side like we did last time to put them on. So we're first going to take double yellow bands, and then we're going to put them going horizontally for our whole length of our loom. So I usually start at the bottom for this, but you can start at the top as well. Take double yellow bands and go horizontally. Once again, we are going to skip this first horizontal band here, and we are now going to start the hooking process. So grab your hook, and we're going to start on this bottom pin, go inside the horizontal bands, hook the single chain. It's okay if your bands fall off. And basically hook the single chain all the way up to the top of your loom, and only hook the bands on the right side because the horizontal bands are going to be left untouched. So now your loom should look like this. And if I ever go too fast for you in this video, feel free to use the pause button. But if you are finished with your single chain like I am, we can go ahead and take this off the loom. But please remember that your loose end is on this pin right here, so remove everything else. So you should now have something like this. And so we can now go ahead and start doing Belle's dress and arms. So the dress design was made to fit the square set position on your loom, but obviously not everybody has a rainbow loom, so they can't all change the setting of their pins. So I have accommodated this design to the offset position. Now it does look a little bit funny just because I literally moved all the bands in the middle up one because of the offset position. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and start with Belle's dress. So the design is gonna look kind of funny on the loom, but I promise you it'll turn out fine in the end. So we're first going to start with our loom's arrows pointing down like we always have, and you're first gonna take 2 neon orange bands and put them vertically for her neck. Now we are going to take double bands. We're going to take 1 white and 1 yellow and put them upwards, and do the same thing to the other side. 1 white and 1 yellow. Now we're going to basically make a triple single, which is how this design is based off of. So I'm going to take double yellow bands, and we're going to be using double bands for the whole part of this design. So if I don't specify, that's what we're using. So use double yellow bands to go vertically. And we're going to go one last time, one last little row. Like that. So your loom should now look like this, and if I have gone too fast for you, please use the pause button right about now. And if you are with me at this point, then we're going to go ahead and start with the skirt part of Belle's dress. So we're going to be using double bands for this as well. We're going to use 1 white and 1 yellow for this part. So we're going to go vertically on this side. 1 white and 1 yellow again. And 1 white and 1 yellow again here. And we're going to use 1 white and 1 yellow again. Right here, 1 white and 1 yellow. But for this middle one here, we're going to be using double yellow. So we have 1 white and 1 yellow on these 2 pins, double yellow on the middle. Now we're going to use 1 white and 1 yellow for the far right side. So only these 2 bands here should have 1 white and 1 yellow. Now we're going to continue on with all yellow bands, and we're going to continue this on for 5 more stitches down the length of our loom. So you're going to go double yellow, so we have our first row completed and one of my bands flew off. And now we're going to go for our second row of double yellow bands. Now our third row of double yellow bands. Our fourth row now. And finally our fifth row. So now your loom should look like this, and if I have gone too fast for you during that part, then you might want to go ahead and pause the video here. And we are now going to go ahead and put some horizontal bands going across our loom. So for this, we are going to need a couple yellow bands. And first you're going to take 1 yellow band, stretch it across these 3 pins at the top of your loom here, and you're going to double loop them. So double loop this, like that. You're going to do that for the next set of 3 pins. So take 1 band, go across 3 pins, and twist it onto itself and put it back onto the pins. Like that. So you should now have something like this, and you should have 2 triangles here. And now we're going to go ahead and transfer the dress extension pieces onto our loom. So I have my hook here, and I'm going to stick it inside this top pin on the left side with my extension piece here. Now I'm going to transfer this onto my loom, onto this pin here that is directly under the pin with the triangle. So I'm going to stick my finger inside these bands and kind of transfer them onto this pin here, like that. And now is the kind of fun part, or at least I think it's kind of fun. You get to attach all these loops onto the pins here. So you start with the top 2 looms, and you are going to transfer these in sets of 2 since we did use double bands for this. And you're going to transfer them like that. So I just put them onto my loom, and you're going to have them go upwards. So take the next 2 bands and transfer them going with the pins that go upwards like that. And you're going to continue transferring the double bands along on your single chain, and you're going to put them on your loom. And continue putting the loops on. And make sure they don't overlap onto each other. So now your loom should look like this with these bands that go kind of vertically or horizontally. And now we're going to go ahead and transfer the other piece up here to our loom. So go ahead and grab your hook and slide this extension piece onto your hook. Now you're going to go ahead and transfer this onto this pin right here, should be horizontally across from the pin that you attach the other extension piece to. Transfer it onto there. And now we're going to go ahead and transfer these loops onto the pins as well. So this first loop is going to go from this bottom pin here, vertically to this pin here, like that. And now this second one, it's harder to get started with the loops, but once you get the hang of where they're supposed to go, it's easier after that, like that. And then now you're going to transfer the rest of the loops onto your loom. So I've now finished putting the loops onto my loom, and your loom should now look like this. And we have two more things to do. So we have to add the arms on, and we also have to add a band going around these 3 pins here. Now these 3 pins are the set of pins where we first added on our extension. So the extension goes on this pin and this pin. So this part is a little bit tricky. So you're first going to stick your hook into this pin, but you're only going to grab the top 2 bands, which one should be white and one should be yellow. These should be the top 2 bands of your single chain that went here. So grab the top 2 bands here. Try to give you all points of view of this, like here. And you're going to slide it onto your hook and release your hook. So just let it hang there for a little bit. Now this part is a little bit tricky. So you're going to take one yellow band and you're going to double loop it across these 2 pins. So double loop that, like that. So now you should have a double loop band across these 2 pins. You're going to take your hook and put back these 2 bands that are on your hook. Act like you never even added this band on here, so just put it on normally. Now you're going to do the same thing to the other side, except on this side you're going to pick up the top 2 bands like we did, and slide your hook on and release your hook on the side. But we are going to use the same band here. So you're going to pick up this double loop band on the pin and you're going to stretch it across and put it onto this pin. So here's my double loop band. Pick it up, stretch it across, and put it onto the pin. This is a little bit hard to do, so try and be patient and careful when you're stretching it across. So now we have a double loop band going across these 3 pins in a triangle. You're going to take your hook and place these bands back onto the pin. Act like you never even put them there, like that. Now we have to make the arms and the little puffy shoulders. Now we're going to make the little puffy shoulders. So first you're going to take one white and one yellow band. You're going to take the yellow band first and wrap it around your hook 3 times. So 1, 2, and 3, like that. Now you're going to take a single white band and slide this triple looped yellow band onto it, like that. Now we're going to transfer this onto our loom. So I have my little link here, and you're going to put one end on the top pin here, one end on this top pin, and you're going to put the other end on this pin vertically above it, like that. So you should now have something like this right here. So I have this single band stretched across these 2 pins. Now we're going to do the same thing to this side. So now I have this one yellow band. I'm going to wrap it around my hook 3 times, like that. Now I'm going to take my one single white band and slide this yellow band onto my white band. And now we are going to transfer this onto our loom. So I have my band here, and I'm going to transfer one end of this onto the very top right pin, and transfer the other end onto the pin that is vertically above it. So now your loom should look like this at the top with the white band stretching above, like this. And now we're going to go ahead and make 2 arms. So I realize that many of you have trouble making the single chain link arms with your hook and hands only. So I'm going to show you how to do that on your loom. So first you're going to take a single white band, double loop it across this bottom pin here, and double loop it across that pin like this. But you're going to hold on to this end of the band right here in my hand. And you're going to stick that, you're going to twist the band here, stick that onto this pin next to it, like that. So we have a figure 8 from above, and we have a double looped part on this left side, and on the right side we have a single one. So now we're going to push this down, and at this time you're going to take double white bands and put them going across those pins there. Take your hook now, and you're going to hook over the very bottom band. So hook over the bottom one here, and hook over the bottom 2 layers on this pin. Like that. So now we have double bands here with a triple loop band in between. You are going to take double white bands again, put them across the 2 pins, and now you're going to hook over the bottom bands. Hook over the bottom bands here. Now you're going to take double white bands again, put it across the top pins, and hook over the bottom bands. Like that. Now we are going to take double neon orange bands, put them across, and hook the bottom bands up and over. Now we are going to take double yellow bands, hook the bottom bands up and over. Now you're going to take double neon orange bands again, put them across the top 2 pins, and hook the bottom bands up and over. We have now finished 1 arm, so what you're going to do is pick up both ends of this with your hook. Pick up this bottom this right side, and then just take your hook inside the left pin to pick up the left side. So now I have this chain link here with the chains of Belle's arm. So we can now transfer this onto our loom. So I'm here at the top of my loom, and we're going to transfer this to this very left pin here. So I'm just going to kind of stretch it over here on my hook and transfer it onto this top left pin, like that. Now we're going to go ahead and make 1 more arm so we can put it on the right side of Belle's body. Then we can start the hooking process. So first we're going to take 1 white band, double loop it onto this first pin here, like that. Now you're going to twist it again and put it on this right pin here. So you should have something like this now. Now you're going to push these down, and we're going to take double white bands, put them across the 2 pins, take your hook and hook the bottom bands up and over. It does not matter what order you hook the bottom bands over in. Now we're going to make 2 more links of double white bands. So there's 1, and here is my second one. So here I have my links of double white bands, and you should have 3 links total, 2 hanging from the pin here, and then 1 on the set of pins here. And it's kind of hard to see with my really bright lighting. And so now we're going to go ahead and take double neon orange bands, put them across the 2 pins here, like that, and hook over the bottom bands. Now you're going to take double yellow bands and put it across the 2 pins and hook over. Now you're going to finally take your last 2 double neon orange bands, hook the bottom bands up and over, and now we can go ahead and transfer this onto our hook. So pick up the right side, stick your hook in the left pin, like that, and pause the video here if you're still having trouble. But with this arm, we are now going to transfer it onto our loom. So I'm here at the top of my loom with my little arm here, going to stick my finger inside these bands that are on my hook, and then transfer it onto this top right pin here, like that. And now we're going to take these white bands that we put going vertically, and I have this white band here that is on my pin, and I'm going to pick it up and basically fold it in half and stick it right back onto this pin with the arm. So I have to push my bands down. So I picked up this white band from the top pin, and I'm going to fold it over and put it back onto the same pin that its other end is on. So I have something like this. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Pick up the white band with my hook, like that. Push my bands down and fold over this white band. So I'm just going to replace it back on to this pin, like that. And now we can finally start the hooking process. So for this first part, we're going to start at the bottom of our loom, of course. And I am first going to grab these bottom double bands here. Now I'm not going to go inside this horizontal band, I'm going to go on the outside of it. So pick these 2 up from the outside and hook them up and over to this top pin here. Now it looks kind of weird and funny, but I promise you it'll turn out fine in the end. Those of you who have made my other princess figurines would know. And now you're going to do the same thing to the other side. Don't go inside the horizontal band, go on the outside of it and then hook over. Now I'm going to go ahead and hook this vertical band in the middle here. Now we are going to go inside the horizontal bands on this one. You should have 4 bands that you're going inside of and 2 bands that you're picking up, like that. Now from here on out, it is basically a triple single bracelet, so you should know how to do the triple single bracelet before doing this design, and basically hook like you would in a triple single. So I probably won't be talking during this part just because it is pretty self-explanatory. And it does not matter what order you hook the bands in as long as you hook them from the bottom of your loom to the top. So I've now finished the skirt part, and I am here at the part where I am about to cross the extensions on my loom. And from here it's basically still the same. You just go inside all the bands here, even though there's a ton of bands there, and continue hooking. So I have now finished hooking all the bands on my loom, and it looks like this. If you are not to this point yet, then you might want to pause, but now I'm going to show you how to hook the rest of the 3 bands here. So you're going to go inside all the bands that are here on this pin, and make sure you go through all of them, otherwise your arms on here are going to fall off. And then I'm going to pick up the bands that are on the very bottom. Should be 2 bands, 1 white, 1 yellow. Hook it over to the middle pin, and do the same on the right side. Again, make sure you go inside all of the bands and pick up only the bottom 2 bands and hook them over to the middle. Now we have one last band, or 2 last bands to hook, I guess, and these are the double neon orange bands, and these are the bands that create the neck. Go upwards like that. So I have now finished hooking all the bands on my loom. So your loom should now look like this. And if you're still not done yet, go ahead and pause the video, but if not, I'm going to go ahead and take this off of my loom. Please remember that our loose end of this design is the neck piece right here, which is at the very top of our loom. So remove everything else except for this band here. You should now have something like this, and this is basically Belle's body. And so now we're going to go ahead and start making her head. So because of this loom position, her head looks kind of weird when we put it on the loom, but I promise it is going to turn out perfectly normal. So first we're going to make the little strands of hair that stick out on the sides of Belle's head. So first you're going to start only use double bands for this first link. So I'm going to use double bands on this very first link. And for this part, we are just doing her little hair extension only, and we're going to take this off of the loom, so it doesn't really matter where you start. But for those first 2 bands, I used, or for this first band, I used double bands. But now we're only going to use single bands from now on. So you're going to make 3 links with just single bands of caramel. Like that. So I have 3 single chains and 1 double bands, or 1 with double bands. And now you're going to take 1 caramel band, wrap around this bottom pin 3 times, and now you're going to hook this single chain here. So just hook vertically. Like that. Now you're going to remove this from your loom. So let's take those off, and you're going to make 1 more of these. So I'm going to start with double bands at the top, and then 3 links of just single caramel bands. So 1, 2, and 3. And take 1 caramel band, wrap it around 3 times on this bottom pin, and do the hooking process. And if I'm going too fast for you guys on this part, I apologize. But go ahead and use the pause button. So you should now have something like that, and just remove that from your loom and let it dangle off the very last band. And now we're going to make Belle's button. So I'm just going to start below where I made the extension pieces. And for that first band, I used 1 single band. Now we're going to use double caramel bands. And basically create like a diamond pattern bracelet. Now you're going to take a single caramel band and wrap around this pin 3 times. And do the hooking process now. So pick up the top 2 bands. And then hook the rest of the bands here. And lastly, the single chain. So now you're going to take the bottom band here and go on the outside, pick up the very bottom band, pull it up and over the pin. Take this, give it a little yank, and now you can remove this from your loom. And so now we are basically all set, and we can go ahead and start putting bands on for Belle's head. So for this part, I'm going to just start below where I have those 2 extensions. First, I'm going to take double caramel bands, and double caramel bands again. Now we're going to transfer these bands onto our loom. So what you're going to do is stick your hook in one of the extension pieces and pick it up. Now this part can be a little bit tricky. So I have this extension piece here, and I am going to stick one, okay, so we have two ends here. One end is here, and the other end is on this side. There's two bands per end, I guess. You're going to take the top two bands here, pick them up and pull them off of your hook and put them on this top pin here. So we have two ends here. One end is here, and the other end is on this side. There's two bands per end, I guess. You're going to take the top two bands here, pick them up and pull them off of your hook and put them on this top pin here. Now you should have two bands left on your hook. You are going to carefully transfer these to the pin that is below, like that. So now you have basically split the last single chain link across these two pins, like that. So I'll show you again on this next extension. Pick it up onto your loom, and once again we have basically two ends to this chain. One is here and the other one is here. So now you're going to take the top two bands close to the tip of your hook, pick them up with your finger and stretch them onto this top band here. Now with the two bands left on your hook, you're going to transfer them onto this bottom pin here, like that. So now you should have these two extension pieces hanging off of your loom like this, with the double bands hanging on these two vertical pins here. And with that done, we are now going to go on with the easy part and put on the rest of the bands for the face. So I'm going to start with my neon orange bands, and we're going to use double bands for this whole part. I'm going to go vertically again. Use double neon orange bands for all of this. And on this side. And you're going to go upwards here. Upwards here. Like that. So now we have created the head, and we're going to go ahead and add the eyes on. So I discovered a new easy way to make eyes. So you're first going to take your two bands, and we're going to start with the eyes on this pin. So you're going to wrap this black band onto this pin 4 times. Like that. And you're going to do the same thing to this pin here. And I apologize to if any other loomers have already done this. I haven't seen it in a video yet. 2, 3, and 3 and 4. Like that. And go ahead and push those down. Now you're going to take a single neon orange band and wrap it twice across these 3 pins. So once, and here's twice. Like that. Now what you're going to do is we're basically going to hook over these black bands that are on our pins here. So we're going to go ahead, kind of separate them from the neon orange band. And now what you're going to do is you're going to take your hook and pick up these black bands on the pin here. So pick them up from the outside. Pick all 4 layers of the black band up. And you're going to pull them over the pin. So you're going to pull them over the pin here and release. Like that. So now your eye should be on your band here, and I think this is a much easier way to do the eyes. So you're going to do the same thing on the other pin. So pick up this black band here and hook over onto the double loop neon orange band. And that was pretty easy, and now we just have the 2 eyes on our little head here. And we're going to go ahead and take the bun that you set aside earlier, and you're going to find the cap band. Now this should be pretty easy, so find the cap band here and place it onto the very top pin that is on your loom. We're very top pin that is on the head that is on your loom. Like that. And now we're going to go ahead and transfer the body onto this bottom pin here. So I'm here at the top of my loom. I'm going to take my hook and pick up these 2 bands, transfer them on. And now we're going to put these onto this very middle pin right here. So you're going to take these double bands here and stretch them and put them onto this pin that is in the middle. Like that. So now you should have something like this. Like that. And now we can go ahead and start the hooking process. So for this, I kind of like to stretch the body down so that way it's not in the way. And I'm going to hook the bottom, or the top 2 bands, which should be double neon orange bands going to the right. And hook the next 2 bands here. Double neon orange going to the left. And then this middle band that goes upwards. Like that. So now I have these double bands here and double bands here going out. Now I'm going to go on to the left pin, pick up the bottom 2 bands here, put it upwards, this right pin, pick up the bottom 2 bands here, and go upwards. From here on out, it is pretty easy. You just hook the 3 vertical bands here. Like that. And now you're going to go to the left pin and hook these double caramel bands going inwards, and the same thing with the other side. Like that. Now we just have one more thing to do. You're going to go ahead and take double yellow bands, and we're going to add this little headband that holds everything together, as well as makes a little accent on this bun right here. So what you're going to do is kind of stick it on one pin here, and stick your hook inside all the bands here. You're going to kind of curve your hook around and pick up these double yellow bands that you're holding on to with your other hand. So pick them up, so that way they go through like that. So you have double yellow bands coming from these bands here. You're going to go ahead and put the bands onto this pin here. So now you have a single chain coming off of this pin here. You're going to go ahead and pick up both of the little layers here. So all of the bands here, and transfer it to this middle pin here. This does cause a bit of stress on your hook, so be careful so it doesn't break. So now you should have a single chain going vertically on your pins. With the bun, you're going to kind of make it and sandwich it in between the 2 layers of the yellow single chain. So you want it to be in between the 2 layers of yellow. So kind of use your hook to maneuver it to squish it inside there, like that. And now we're going to go down to the very bottom of this pin and pick up the double yellow bands that are down here. So with the double yellow bands that are on the bottom of our pin, you're going to pick it up, pull it up and over, and kind of move it so that way it goes around the base of the bun, and then release it. Pick up the bands on your top pin here, give it a little stretch to tighten. And now we can remove this whole thing off of our loom, and we do not have any loose ends, so you can remove everything off of the loom. So with the side face up, this is actually the wrong side of our design. This is the opposite side. So you're going to flip the design over so that way the 2 extensions are on the front of her face here. Now you're going to kind of adjust the eyes a little bit, and I'm going to show you how to fix this yellow band here. So basically you're just going to wrap it around the bun, and you're going to wrap it around twice. So pick it up here, put it around the bun, and double loop it across the bun. So now you don't have this little ugly chain hanging off. And kind of adjust it accordingly. And now we're going to go ahead and tuck in this little end of the bun. So just take your hook and stick it inside a random place of your bun and grab this caramel band that's sticking out and pull it through into a random spot, just so that way it's tucked in like that. Give your design a couple adjustments and stretches to kind of make everything even. And we are done with this super cute Belle figurine. So thank you so much for watching this tutorial. Once again, this is my own original design. I spent quite a bit of time designing it, and I really hope you guys like it. Please give this video a thumbs up if you made this creation successfully and if this video was helpful to you. And also don't forget to subscribe for more videos. And I am having my 10,000 subscribers contest going on right now. You should go check out that video on my channel. I am giving away quite a bit of prizes, including the limited edition Rainbow Loom bands that are online exclusive. So yeah, don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Pinterest. My username is tutorialsbya, and I will have those in the description box below. Also, I have my DIY Valentine's Day cards with Rainbow Loom charms video that came out today as well. And don't forget to go check that out. Link is in the description box. Thank you guys so much for watching once again, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!